Epiphone has partnered once again with the Gibson Custom Shop to create some very cool new guitars. I got the 1959 Les Paul Standard. Let's check it out. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cooper Greenberg here at Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. Find us online at alamomusic.com, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We finally hit 100,000. As you can see with our cool play button behind me, very excited to say that for the first time in a video. So thank you guys very much for getting us there. But yeah, we're very excited to be back. Happy New Year to everybody. We had a really great 2021, all things considered, very fun stuff from the guitar world. And this is a 2021 release, but it's a 1959 Epiphone Les Paul Standard. We did get these last year, and then Chris and I had to take some time to ourselves. It was just, we couldn't shoot the last couple weeks because it was Christmas and then it was New Year's, and what are you gonna do? So back in the studio and excited to be here with this cool guitar. And these came out last year as a partnership between Epiphone and the Gibson Custom Shop. We saw another one last year like that. They seem to be doing more of these. We had the Alex Lifeson cool Les Paul Custom Access guitar from Epiphone. And now we're kind of seeing the other side of what Gibson does and what the Custom Shop does. They have the really cool forward-thinking modern stuff and then the original stuff. So this is definitely based on the OG, famed 59 Les Paul. Gibson's done the 58, they've done the 60, and they've done the 59. Who knows if we're going to see a 61 one of these days, but I really enjoyed the 59 Les Paul. I think Chris did as well because he actually took home the Gibson Custom Shop 59 Les Paul. So he was going to come in and, he might have a 58, but either way, he's got one of those classics. And he was going to maybe bring his in so we could compare the two, Epiphone versus Gibson. Who knows if we'll have these long enough for him to come in and do that, but we got them now, so we might as well show them to you. There's two models that they did, and this is the Aged Dark Burst. There's also an Aged Dark Cherry Burst, which you'll see me playing in the demos. Just really, really beautiful finish. And so there's certain things that, it's an Epiphone, it's not going to be the Gibson, so the good thing is it's not $6,000, but you are sacrificing a few things, so I'll tell you kind of where that comes in. Cool thing, we got a mahogany body, we got a maple top. This flame top is the veneer on top of the maple cap, so it's not a solid AAA flame grade maple cap, but it is a AAA veneer on top of the maple cap. It's got this really cool kind of limited edition Epiphone coin on the back, and the big plus here when compared to other high-end Epiphone Les Pauls is the pickups. So these are true Gibson burstbucker pickups, a 2 and a 3. Usually the nicer Epiphones have the Pro Buckers, which are great pickups, but these are real deal Gibson pickups. They got the unpotted coils, which is very cool. They say on the website, which they're very vague on, so you got to forgive me, but it's 50 style wiring, and they say that the finish is just aged. So what that tells me is that it's not a nitrocellulose finish. It's probably polyurethane, probably satin poly. It feels really nice, and I liked it a lot in the pictures. I'll get to some of the stuff that pros and cons on this guitar post demo, but for the most part, you just got a really, really solid Les Paul. Indian Laurel fretboard instead of the mahogany. Got the cool Kalamazoo headstock, which we've seen on a lot of the new Epiphones. I really like the vintage style tuners, 12-inch radius, 22 frets, medium jumbo, long tenon neck joint. So kind of everything that you want from Les Paul. Keeps it basic, keeps it to the classics, and with the addition of these pickups, I think it kind of outperforms every other Epiphone Les Paul that I've gotten to play. There's no push-pull switching like we saw in that other Epiphone, the Alex Lifeson, because again, this is really meant to be a true tribute to the 1959 Les Paul. So let's check it out. Let's hear some sounds. I'm going to do some clean tones and some overdriven tones on the Hot Rod Deluxe. EQs all straight up the middle, a little bit of reverb, and then kicking on the amp drive. This is not a pedal. A lot of people ask when I use the overdrive, do I have a pedal? What pedal am I using? It's not a pedal. I'm just going to the second channel on the Hot Rod because I think it sounds really nice, and it keeps the kind of classic tone of the Hot Rod. We use that for a reason. And so just a little push. Sounds really great. Let's check it out. So there you have it. There's a little demo on the 59 Epiphone Les Paul Standard. You know, I like this guitar. I'm always kind of going to be one of those people that, so I don't have a Les Paul. Let's get that out of the way. I sold my Les Paul. I want one, and I always see these nice custom shops coming in that are way out of my price range, and those are the ones that I fall in love with. And I think a lot of people are probably the same way. So it's really cool to have an option that is more appointed like those. There are some things that I really miss from those custom shops, but at the price point, it's pretty impossible to ignore. You gotta sacrifice a few things from a $6,000 guitar to get to an $850 guitar, which, as always, if you're watching this down the road, I know already there are scheduled price changes for 2022. That's a nice little, you know, just flag to anybody. If you're looking at a guitar, it's not gonna get any cheaper. Which is a huge bummer, and I don't like, and we don't like because we got to retag everything and change it in the system several times a year. But it's just what's happening right now. I do think that at $850 or $849.99, this is a really good deal for a great Les Paul. We've got those custom Koas in, which are great. We can demo those sometime soon if we still have them. Those are a real wild-looking guitar to me. The Access Les Paul was a crazy-looking guitar to me, so it's nice to have kind of Epiphone doing what we've seen them do, have a modern line, an original line, kind of giving good choices to everybody. My biggest issues with this guitar, which would push me away from it, are number one, the finish. I think it looks really great, but it doesn't feel awesome to me. And, you know, satin polyurethane guitar, I think gloss would look really nice, and you're not going to be able to, at $850, get that crazy nitrocellulose VOS finish that feels broken in and feels aged. That's, you know, one of the amazing perks of that higher end Gibson area. But just something about it, I kind of would have preferred gloss. It's supposed to be aged looking, so that's where they went with it. It's fine. I also saw in the specs that it says there is hand rolled neck profiles. So this is like a 60s C or a 50s C, I think is what they're calling it, medium C, whatever. Either way, it's still got a little bit of that Epiphone D shape, a little blocky. I do like that it's chunky, a lot of different adjectives going on here, but I like that it's a thick neck. I think that when Gibson did the 58, 59, 60, all of those, they tried to stay really true to some of those slimmer neck profiles that they were messing around with. I think in 59 or 60, one of those years they had Gibson released like an A, B, and C, you know, 3 different options because the neck profile was changing so much. And we saw some really slim necks, saw some heavier necks. They went pretty hardcore with this one, which I think is cool. I mean, I think it's more comfortable to have a thicker neck, but there's something about Epiphone, I think it's the first thing that everybody feels when they grab it versus, you know, a Gibson. You feel that kind of D blocky shape instead of just a nice smooth C. So that's the other thing that's kind of, you know, it's a point for me that I don't love. And, you know, speaking of, it says hand-rolled neck profile. The frets, it varies from guitar to guitar. You know, it always depends. If you're going to check one out, you know, maybe feel it for yourself. Some of these frets down on the bottom are a little sharp for me. Again, you're not going to get, for a sub $1,000 guitar, hand-filed fret edges, unless, say, maybe you go for a Player Plus, who's to say. But, yeah, it's a little sharp to me. Don't love the neck profile, although I think it's better than a lot of other Epiphones that I've played. And the finish isn't my favorite. However, for the pros, first of all, it sounds awesome. I think you hopefully heard it come through in the demos. I think the pickups sound fantastic. There's so much sustain in this guitar that, you know, it's going to give you everything you want from a Les Paul. You're getting it for the sound. You're not getting it for the headstock or, you know, the color or anything. It really should be based on the sound. Color-wise, though, I do think it looks great. Nice kind of cherry mahogany on the mahogany neck and body. And then the bursts look really great. I saw a review online, kind of upset that the bursts look a little too opaque, especially on the cherry burst, which you saw in the demo, around the edges, that you don't get shown off all of that beautiful AAA flame grade. But you know what? It's fine. It looks great. And the flame, I think in person, I mean, I have that cherry one right here. You can see in the photos and in the demo, the flame goes all the way to the edge. So that might be some things, you know, somebody's issue. I think the bursts look great. I think that, you know, maybe somebody can correct me in the comments. If in 1959 they had a guitar called Dark Burst, let me know. But I think that's a cop-out. Just give us a tobacco or give us a bourbon burst or something classic. Give me something to hold on to. Dark Burst, again, maybe I'm stupid and that's what they called these these dark bursts back in the day. But I want some attached to it. I want like a noun that's, you know, like a bourbon or tobacco. That influences how I feel about the sound of the guitar. I think that's one thing. That's a nitpicky thing. But for what you're getting, $849. This is a really solid guitar. It's got a great sound. The sustain is fantastic. And it feels great. There's a couple little things that I would change, but for this price, I think, I mean, you can go toe-to-toe with something from Fender's catalog in this price, which beforehand, I felt like Epiphone and Gibson, you got to pay way more than you need to pay to get something that, you know, covers all the bases. I think they kind of nailed it perfectly. Price point on this, the appointments, the sound, collaboration with the Custom Shop and Gibson's factory is always really cool. So yeah, I want to see more of their stuff. I want to see what Epiphone's got planned for this year. Hopefully we see, you know, this kind of thing get expanded a little bit. But either way, if you're looking for a Les Paul from Epiphone especially, it's a really great choice. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you think, how you think the sound is. If you've got one of these, what do you like, what do you not like? But either way, very nice to be back in 2022. Thank you guys for watching and for subscribing, getting us to 100,000. It's very cool. See you all next time.